Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for talking to me about this assistive technology position. I want to take this opportunity also just to introduce myself a little bit and to introduce my electronic portfolio to you. And admittedly, it's my first one, so I'm not sure exactly what it should entail. But I'm hoping that if I'm off the mark, I'm not too far off the mark. I'm just going to sort of do this via both my Google Docs or slides I have here and a blog that I created a number of years ago. And that's sort of how I'm going to structure the portfolio. So I hope that works for you. The first little part is just a little bit about me. I have been teaching with the board for the better part of 17 years. I started teaching in September of 2000 in a variety of roles, I guess, or a few roles. My first 14 years were spent in a more traditional large high school, and I am now working in a Section 23 school, which is a partnership between the school board and the Catholic Children's Aid Society. I guess the reason I'm just pointing this out to sort of preface some of the other stuff I'm doing, but I do have a master's degree in education with a major in info and communication technology and education and training, as the slide sort of denotes. I'm just going to point out one little piece here, and that's that last little where you can see my cursor there, the multimedia and interface design. And the reason I'm sort of highlighting that is simply because I feel like that has really informed my ability to plan lessons that are geared towards, in particular, ones that utilize electronics and technology geared towards optimizing learning for students. So that's essentially what this slide says as well. And the example that I'm going to use is the World War I blog that I'm going to introduce next. And I also was responsible for creating an iBook textbook for a course that I taught overseas. I don't think I'll have time in this part of the portfolio or in the portfolio to explain that, but I'd be happy to do that outside of the portfolio. So I'm just going to pause for 1 second and set up the next little section. So this section here is based on, again, as I said before, a blog that I created a number of years back to use with the grade 10 applied history class that I was teaching. It is structured for the student primarily with learning disabilities, but certainly it's designed universally enough that probably any student could benefit from it. I just want to point out some of the things that relate to accessibility. And one of the things about proper interface design and multimedia design is sort of the general layout. It shouldn't be too cluttered, as well as it should give options and be personal to the student, and among other things. So just to give you an idea, that the title bar here there's two options. They can use the top bar, or they can use the side menu. Either way, it brings them to the same place. It is this first little intro screen here has a set of instructions that I actually narrate, so I'll just play a bit of that. Hi, and welcome to my blog on World War I from a Canadian perspective. Just a couple of things I want to show you to get you started. There's two navigation tools, and one is the table of contents on the left, and the other is... So the benefit of that is, again, that it's personal. I am the one narrating it as the teacher, and it sort of lays out the instructions for a student. They can sort of see visually what I'm referring to and listen to me at the same time. I'll just show you a little bit of the actual blog and how it works. One of the things that, I guess, one of the limitations of this particular portfolio is that I'm not directly interacting with some of the software that would be on the board server, such as Dragon and WordQ and Premiere and Kurzweil. I'll primarily be basing it on Google Chrome extensions and Google Apps, which I have installed on my computer here. So I'll sort of show you some of the little tricks, if you will, or some of the accessibility functions that work really well with this particular blog. So with each of the blogs, the sections of the blog, the World War I topic, on the World War I topic, you have the option of either reading along or you can listen to me narrate the actual reading. Introduction and causes. In this activity, students will assess the causes of World War I and how it resulted in the deaths of more than 15 million people. Many innocent people were killed during this battle, and many say that the war was not a just war. So again, that's a good option for a student who might have issues with reading comprehension, for instance, and benefit from having somebody read to them. They can go back and forth with the reading. They can listen to it again. They can follow along with the cursor, as I've just done. They can highlight the text. Any of those things that might help them. If, for instance, a student, and I'm going to go on to another little section here. If a student happened to be, for instance, visually impaired, they can use this little Chrome extension, which is a zoom function. And this is a great one because it actually operates on a slider. So you can make it as large or as small as you possibly want. And you can scroll down just the same and interact in the same way that you would. So a great little function for, as I say, students who might need that advantage. And you can reset it back to 100, which I'll do. This particular blog it contains, again, text, narration of the text. It also includes pictures that can be zoomed. So students can benefit from, again, they can work at their own pace, as quickly or as slowly as they like, depending on their comfort zone. It also has embedded, so not only embedded audio files, but again, the pictures that can zoom. And in some cases, we would also have a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll show you one of those. I'm going to go back up to, the battles. And I'll just find. So this little video is embedded from YouTube on the Battle of the Somme, and again would be. So again, just a way for students to visualize, for those that sort of benefit from that or might need that. And again, they can operate at whatever pace they want. They can watch that as many times as they like. The interesting little thing about this one, I think this is the right. Yeah, so I've embedded some period music. So this is a song from during World War I, and I'll just play a couple of seconds of it for you.
The other day I chanced to meet a soldier friend of mine. He'd been in camp for several weeks and he was...
So if you're interested in that, you can embed some primary documents if students would benefit from that as well. Another one of the interesting little Google Chrome extensions here is the dictionary one, and I'll show you how that works. And I'll just pick a word, let's say fundamental, which could be potentially a tricky word for students. All I have to do is highlight that and click on the dictionary function, and that'll bring up the word along with the definition. And in most cases, it'll actually pronounce the word for you as well. There'd be a little speaker icon there in that case. So there's that advantage. The other thing is, I'm actually going to just pause for 1 second to set up the next little section. So in this next little section, I just want to point out a couple of things here. I've got a Google extension here, which is actually a text-to-speech extension, so you could highlight text and have it read it. Just see if it'll work here for me. And again, a student could highlight an entire text and have it read to them if that's what they like, despite the fact that there is the option of having me narrate as well. The last little piece that I want to show you in terms of accessibility software, if you will, or perks, is each of these sections in the World War I blog have an assessment task assigned to them. So for this one, you are pretending that you're a Canadian soldier who volunteered to fight in the war, and you're asked to write a letter home to your family. So what is a possibility here for students, and I'm going to actually jump into my apps for 1 second. Now I'm keeping things in the same tab for the sake of the ability to be taped again. Let me just see if this is going to work. Okay, so this is also a Google extension, a Chrome extension, and this is a speech to text. So I'm going to really quickly, again, show you this as an option for students so they could, once they're ready to narrate, click this microphone, When I was a young soldier, life was tough. So that is there. I'm going to unclick this. Okay, so that's all the text I've just spoken there. And this is an option again. So to copy this, and again, in an ideal world, you would be working in multiple tabs, which is one of the limitations of this particular program that I'm videoing from, or taping from. So they'd come back into their little activity, their assessment task. And I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right place, and they can take the text that they've spoken and simply paste it here. And that would be their homework, and they post their comments that way. So I realize I'm over 10 minutes, and I just want to close by saying thanks again. Hope you enjoyed, and it's just one way that we can dovetail this assistive technology into things. And in this particular case, something made from scratch by me, which has got some built-in accessibility options. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks.